What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Stochastic DFS channel. And today we are talking NFL DFS. Yes, NFL DFS is back in the form of preseason action. We have the Hall of Fame showdown slate to get to. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. And before we get started, phenomenal deal I just have to tell you about. With the preseason being back, we've got a deal for you. And because there's only one game, you're going to get your first week of preseason DFS content action over at Stochastic for $1. All you have to do is click the link in the video description below. Use the promo code HOF2023, and you're going to get that first week for $1. 1 week regularly is $19.95. The whole package is $55.95 for all 4 weeks of the preseason. This includes player projections. It includes preseason depth charts with analysis, premium Discord. I'll be in there chopping up the preseason. If there's any late news, you can find it there. And yeah, make sure to check that out. Link in the description below. This is basically my life's work. But all right, it's a showdown slate, so that makes preseason DFS a little weird. Couple intricacies first and foremost. Everyone's the same price, largely because we don't know playing time stuff for preseason DFS. And because playing time can be split widely across positions, generally speaking, defenses and kickers are good plays. They're good captains. They're good flexes. That's because they accrue points through the entire game, whereas skill position players generally playing anywhere from a quarter to a half, sometimes just a series or two. So right away, your top two plays in this game are going to be Jets defense, Browns defense. Slight edge towards the Jets. They're favored in this game. It's not by a wide margin. They're also facing the worst quarterbacks. You've got the Browns not going to suit up Deshaun Watson or Josh Dobbs. So Kellen Mond and Dorian Thompson-Robinson are going to duel it out there. Those aren't exactly a murderer's row of quarterbacks. So Jets defense is going to be the number one play. Second is going to be the Browns. All the same environmental factors. A defense accrues points over the entire game. The only issue is they're slight underdogs, and then you're going to face Zach Wilson. So Zach Wilson's playing in the game. I wouldn't expect him to get more than a quarter, but he's the most talented player that's actually going to be on the field tonight. So that's a slight downgrade for the Browns. Again, I'm going to be playing both of them in a ton of lineups tonight. Love them both as options here. For kickers, you want to look at kicking situations that have just one player. Luckily, both of these teams do. No kicker battle, so no split field goals. Greg Zuerlein is going to be the preferred kicker here. Jets only kicker on the roster, slight favorites. Not much else to say. He'll get points throughout the entire game. Cade York, like the Jets, Browns only have one kicker, so Cade York should be getting every single opportunity. Just slight underdogs here, so you've got an edge towards Zuerlein. One other thing that helps kickers is the low-scoring nature of these games. So if you look at totals in the game, they're very low compared to normal NFL games. Makes the kickers' points a little more valuable in the grand scheme of things. So those are your top four plays. I know it's two defenses, two kickers. Let's get to what everybody wants to hear about. Who's going to play the skill position players? Right away, your top two options are going to be those Browns quarterbacks. You've got them each playing a half. Kellen Mond is going to start. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to play the second half. Maybe you see a little wiggle room one way or the other. But these are also really good options because of mobility, specifically Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Fifth round pick out of UCLA. This guy ran a 40-yard dash in 4.56 seconds, over 600 rushing yards in each of his final 2 years with UCLA. Awesome rushing ability, really good floor with DTR. He's going to be the top skill position player. Mond is slightly behind him. He's been in the league for a few years now, played 25 snaps last preseason. Does have rushing ability, but he's not quite as willing to take off as DTR. So he's going to be slightly behind in terms of viability, but still going to be playing a lot of Mond. If you're looking to a Jets quarterback, I'm probably looking at Chris Streveler. This team will have three quarterbacks active: Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, Streveler. Streveler has the best mobility of the three. He rushed for 10 times for 59 yards back in 2021. Again, I would rather play the Browns quarterbacks, but Streveler, I think, is live for tournaments. The running back position does have some viability here. My favorite situation is Cleveland, where you're not expecting to see Nick Chubb. Jerome Ford was excused from practice until August 1st, so it's a guy they're slowly ramping up into practice. Beat reporters speculate that John Kelly and Hassan Hall are going to handle most of the work for this team. That makes sense. Demetric Felton is a pass catching back. Nate McCrary is not going to make the roster. He's going to get cut. But you can actually evaluate some potential third string options with Kelly and Hall. Kelly's been in the league for a while. Hall's an undrafted free agent out of Georgia Tech. I'll be playing these two guys most aggressively out of the running backs here for Cleveland. On New York, the running back I'm going to target most is Israel Abanikanda. They're not going to have Breece Hall. I wouldn't expect to see much Michael Carter or Zonovan Knight. That kind of just leaves Israel Abanikanda and Travis Dye. To break them both down, Abanikanda, 5'11", 215 pounds. Guy ran a fast 40-yard dash at his pro days, allegedly in the 4.4s, not at the combine, so take that for what it's worth. And he's a guy that allegedly needs to work out the kinks. That was a quote from a beat reporter in the coaching staff to adjust to the NFL. The other guy behind him, Travis Dye, he's a UDFA, tore his ACL 8 months ago. Think he's a long shot to make the roster. So this really should be a Abanikanda hour for the New York Jets. And just one more thing before we move on to receivers and tight ends. We are going in order of preference here. So defense is number 1, kickers number 2, quarterbacks number 3 on the preference list. Running backs are 4. And that gets us to our pure GPP area, wide receivers, tight ends. These players, oftentimes, teams are going to have anywhere between 9 to 14 active receivers on a roster. They're splitting snaps more evenly than other positions. And these teams just aren't throwing the ball at a high percentage. So right away, receivers are volatile. With that said, you catch a touchdown, you could vault up towards the top of GPPs. So first and foremost, New York, not expecting to see Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Corey Davis, Mecole Hardman, or Randall Cobb. If they play at all, it's going to be very little. Undrafted free agent Jason Brownlee has been the star of this camp. He's a rookie that came out of Southern Miss. He's even gotten some time with the Aaron Rodgers unit. Now, a lot of that because of injuries and players, veteran players, not getting as much time in training camp. But Brownlee's a name to monitor here. Similar player on the Browns is going to be Dalen Baldwin. The Browns do have 14 receivers on their roster, so a little less attractive. But like New York, we're not expecting to see Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, at least not in any major capacity. And then Marquise Goodwin, Jakeem Grant, Jalen Darden, and Michael Woods are all dealing with various ailments and probably missed this game. That leaves a player like Dalen Baldwin, who played a lot of snaps last year, to potentially play a lot this year. UDFA out of Michigan in 2022, 44 snaps last preseason, has gotten a lot of reps with some of the higher units, Watson and Dobbs, because of injuries. He could make the team with a strong camp. It's a crowded depth chart, but this is a guy they're probably going to give a long look to in the preseason. Another guy they probably look at is Cedric Tillman, third-round rookie out of Tennessee, quickly ascending the depth chart. He'll likely be competing with David Bell and Anthony Schwartz for a role on this roster. So I think you do see a decent amount of David Bell and Anthony Schwartz along with Cedric Tillman in this game. All would be GPP flyers. Last one here, going back to the Jets, you've got Irvin Charles, 2022 UDFA out of Indiana, Pennsylvania. Played 80 snaps last year, which really intrigued me. He's worked a lot with the Zach Wilson unit, which we are expected to see tonight. And I think the 80 snaps last year probably makes him a pretty good bet to get a lot of snaps this year. Other names to monitor for New York, Malik Taylor, Alec Erickson. Those are guys that have had productive preseasons in the past. Tight end is the least intriguing position for Showdown DFS preseason. With that said, Zaire Mitchell-Payton is someone to potentially look at. Browns only have 2 tight ends. Njoku not going to play. Harrison Bryant, Jordan Akins have been working off to the side with the injury group. That leaves just Mitchell-Payton and Thomas Greeny. Payton's a 2022 UDFA out of Florida Atlantic. Didn't really play a lot there, but he previously caught 90 passes with Notre Dame College, not to be confused with the Fighting Irish. That was before he transferred to FAU. 75 snaps last year with Cleveland. He's going to be on the field a lot. Last guy, Zach Kuntz, tight end for New York. More crowded depth chart, but a solidified depth chart. Conklin and Uzoma are going to be the 1-2. Ruckert is the top 3, or he rounds out the top 3. Zach Kuntz, tight end out of Old Dominion, originally went to Penn State, transferred there. He caught 73 passes for 692 yards in 2021 before getting hurt last year. Kuntz is 6'7", 251 pounds, and ran a 4.55 40-yard dash. Hyper athletic player. And all beat reporter speculation seems to indicate that this is a guy who's going to be on the field a lot in the preseason. They want to evaluate him, want to see if they're going to keep 4 tight ends on the roster, especially one with such good pass-catching prowess from the college days. he could be worth a flyer in tournaments specifically. But that'll do it for us for the preseason NFL breakdown Hall of Fame game edition. Again, all this information, you want access to it quickly. We have player projections. We also have all of this in depth chart form, so you can just go, look, all right, who's on the depth chart, who's expected to play a lot. We'll have blurbs indicating how much they're going to play. All that's available in the preseason package. $1 for your first week. Link in the video description below. Check that out. Follow me on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Otherwise, good luck, everyone. We'll be here all preseason, breaking down everything you need to know, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good one.